Welcome back to Backroom Talk. This season, we're bringing you behind the scenes conversations with awesome coaches who are shaping the future of fitness. I'm your host, Kandace Dickson, CMO of OPEX and CoachRx. In this episode, I sit down with Devon Kennedy as he shares his powerful story from policing to becoming a coach dedicated to supporting first responders. Devon dives into how he identified a critical gap in first responder wellness and built a team of coaches who truly understand the unique challenges of serving in uniform. He walks us through developing a comprehensive coaching system for shift workers, creating community through events like World Police and Fire Games, as well as many others, and how fitness can serve as a therapeutic tool for both physical and mental resilience. What really shines through is his emphasis on building trust through shared experiences and his mission to expand support within the first responder community. Whether you're a career coach or thinking about coaching as your next move, this episode is packed with insights that you can put into action right away. All right, let's jump into my chat with Devon.
Hello.
You.
Good. How's it going?
It's good. A wonderful Tuesday, early in the day here for me. So, what time zone are you in? Are you a couple hours ahead?
Yeah, so I'm in the this would be Atlantic time zone, so the 2 o'clock right now.
Amazing. How's your day been going?
It's good. It's busy. Good busy. Yeah. I work full time as a police officer too. So whenever I'm not doing that, I'm doing this. So it's good.
That does sound very, very busy. Well, I'm
Yeah.
so excited to chat with you today. I know we've been besties over the gram, so it's good to like finally be face to face. But
Yeah.
I usually like to start these chats just from the beginning. So I'd
Sweet.
love if you could just start by opening up about kind of your journey to becoming a coach and what inspired you to become a coach.
Yeah, totally. So I started my journey back in I got jumping back in 2016. I started policing 2013, and then sorry, I noticed that there wasn't enough supports for first responders. And for about 10 years that I had started with my career, I noticed that I needed more and more supports, and that fitness needed to be a bigger part of my life. So 2022, fast forward 2022, I was injured on duty. And in that recovery from the physical and psychological injuries, I really realized that there was a need for supports for first responders, and ways to reach more first responders, not just in my local community, but right across Canada, and into the States. So that was kind of really where resilience through fitness became a passion of mine, and helping first responders build out all the good habits, lifestyle techniques, training in order to have a long and resilient career, as opposed to burning out and going off after 15 years, right? So that was kind of what really started my journey, and then I guess it'd be about a year, well, not a year ago, about 6 months ago now, I had a classmate of mine, or a troop mate of mine, that unfortunately took his life to the side, and none of us knew he was struggling. So that really, really lit a fire under me. Like, no, this has to change. Things need to be done, and I just really doubled down and invested every waking minute that I'm not full time policing. I'm doing this, so just trying everything I can to make sure that we don't have to go to so many funerals for first responders. So that's kind of
Oh
where that's
gosh.
my journey is. It's kind of making a good out of a bad situation.
Definitely. And assuming you started this just on your own, but you've grown to now have a team of coaches
Yeah.
joining this mission with you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's Resilience Through Fitness is all first responder coaches, or veterans. So I really wanted a team of coaches that understood shift work, because it's really, really hard to understand shift work. Yes, you can know the kind of metrics of it and the limited sleep and this and that, but unless you've done it, it's hard to really understand that, you know, well, you get 4 days on, 4 days off. Like, what do you mean you're tired? And it's like, well, because my body doesn't know whether to be asleep or awake anymore. And my sleep cycles are out of whack. And, well, when do I train? And so understanding that struggle was a big factor in who I wanted to bring on to build out the team. So yeah, it's all first responder. It started as just me, and then it just was getting so busy. I was like, man, I got to bring on more coaches. This is great.
Did you start incrementally, just adding one by one, or did you add
Yeah,
a couple
I
right
added a,
away?
I added a couple as, but for the most part, it was me for the first, I'd say a good while. It was just me, and then it just got to be that I was like, all right, I want to keep having the premium program that I offer with the completely customized programming. I need to bring on more coaches, and two, all the different coaches. Like we got Sean, we got Rayanne, we got JT, and there's two lifestyle coaches coming on here in the new year or in March, sorry. And each of them have their own specialty. Like, Sean's a competitive CrossFit athlete. JT's into CrossFit too, right? But he has the correction side knowledge. Rayanne's a firefighter. So they all have their own knowledge base that I find too coaching is almost like policing. We all work in silos and we all think that we know the best and we don't want to give our trade secrets away. And we all kind of want to be the one where I'd want to bring people in to help out to reach as many people as we can. Um, and subject matter experts that know what that's their specialty, right? So that's how I kind of formed it around. It's a supportive group.
Amazing. To that point, as you're kind of picking a set of coaches that can come in and represent a different slice of the fitness pie, are you doing any kind of knowledge share or education across your team, and how's that going?
It's been good, yeah. So we meet monthly, and but it'll probably start to be more and more as it gets busier and busier now. Kind of over the holidays, I was like, you know what, everybody, we got a good thing going. Everybody take their break. We'll catch up after the holidays. But yeah, we are kind of growing to do that more. Just where it's grown so much, and now where we're getting more buy-in with departments, and we're putting proposals in to help different departments be their in-house fitness because here in Canada we have the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. They're a massive police agency, right? So they have a lot of in-house stuff, but the smaller agencies, they don't have that in-person, that small, like a small department of 25 people. Well, they can't afford to put out a full salary just on a fitness trainer for their in-house person, right? So, reaching out to those size departments and being like, hey, like we can come in and help you or remotely help you build a program specifically to what your gym has to offer. And that's the biggest thing that I loved about CoachRx, and what really lit that passion was I was like, this is the perfect system for what I want to do. And it allows me to do it while I'm on the road. So, on the detective group that I'm with right now, we're on the road a lot. So I get to just bring my laptop and I can keep up with all my client stuff. If they need anything adjusted, I can do it on the road. I can hotspot off my phone. Whenever we went to Chicago for the CrossFit Games, I just hotspotted, and whenever my girlfriend or my Kristen was driving, I said, you drive, and I'm just going to program, right? And it was wicked. So I was able to program for 2 weeks. We were on the road and we did a big traveling trip. It was awesome. So yeah, I really like the program for that.
That's amazing. And you have the other coaches in your organization account under CoachRx, and so you're managing them within the system as well.
Exactly, which is really, really nice because I can oversee and make sure everybody's, keeping up on their consults, their contacts, the touch points. But it also gives them that we're able to share um, programs, right? Like, hey, I got a client that's really wanting to do like a hybrid program where running and strength training, and another coach might be like, oh, I did this with this client and it really, really worked. So you can look at that template and be like, oh shit, that actually does work, and then adjust it to what their program is. You just simply duplicate it and then adjust it for them, rename it, and there you go, right? So it streamlines the process and simplifies it so that you can offer more to the clients. You're not doing Google Sheets and doing all this stuff, right? Like, oh my gosh, right? Like
Yeah,
it's so slick, right? I
I
really
hear
enjoy
you. So So let's talk about your service blueprint, because I know you mentioned that delivering like a very premium high touch service is important to you, and that's why you scaled your team to
Yeah.
scale the business. How did you develop the model that you're coaching against, and kind of what inspiration did you have while thinking about what that service blueprint would look like?
So, well, I started my kind of fitness journey at the local gym, and it's grown to be a very it's like a fitness facility, right? Like, I think they're up to almost like 2,500 square feet of space now. So it's really it's an excellent facility, but it's all in one place. And I love traveling, and I wanted to reach more and more people. So I was like, if I want to scale, I need to do it smartly because I have to reach a certain amount of people. I have to be efficient. Um, so, kind of the way that I built it out was uh, people will reach out to RTF saying, "Hey, I want to do your training." I say, "Okay, perfect." We schedule. I'll send them intake documents. With the intake documents, it's all like top to bottom. Like, how's your sleep? How's your recovery? How's your nutrition? Everything. And then, what are your goals? All that good stuff. Then I say, okay, let's do a consult. So we do a video consult. Then from there, I build a ground up program. So I'll just right from open canvas. It's like the best thing ever, right? I'm like, what can we do for them, right? Specifically to what their availability is. Some people are at like a Globo gym. Some people are at the department gym. So what they have available to get them to their goals. And then what I do is from there we go. I usually try to do about 6 week cycles, and then I break those 4 to 6 weeks. And then with those, there's retesting along the way to make sure that we're making that progress. But I also look at the lifestyle. So how are you sleeping? How's your nutrition? Your shift work, right? Like what's your stress levels like? And having the lifestyle side of CoachRx was my favorite thing because that's the missing piece I find with coaches. We're focused so much on what their strength numbers are. And I'm like, that's awesome, but I don't care if you can lift 400 pounds. If you're not sleeping good and you're eating like crap and you're stressed as hell, so what? Well, I don't care if you can lift 400 pounds. You have to have that whole body health, right? So that's kind of the way that I've formed our RTF is that whole body approach because that's what's going to give first responders that long-term success as opposed to just those quick gains and then eventually they fall apart. So really monitoring that's what I really enjoyed the most with it. And yeah, just constant monitoring. Like it's so slick. You can just message them directly through the app and then they message back and ta-da, we're good. Like it's just such.
Have you also implemented the weekly check-ins and
Yeah.
then a monthly consult as part of your blueprint?
Yeah, so every client gets a weekly check-in. I usually do it Sundays. Just makes it easier. I work a Monday to Friday right now. I'm pretty fortunate. I'm not doing the shift work. Thank God, I'm not doing the shift work right now. I usually do Sunday check-ins. That way, I can see everything that day. I get the notifications on my phone, same as all the clients. And then right now we're growing to do lifestyle coaching. So we're going to have two counselors that are coming on board in March, and they're going to do lifestyle coaching, sleep, stress management techniques. And same thing, all the intake documents, I'm building them out through CoachRx. So then once they sign up, they get right into the intake documents, get sent to them, the consent forms, all that stuff's already built in. So the new coaches are really enjoying that because they're like, man, this is wicked. Everything's already here. Like, so it's really nice system that way.
Oh yeah, from an onboarding perspective for them as new employees, right? Makes it a lot easier for you too. Well,
Exactly.
that's amazing. So will your lifestyle service will just not include the exercise component, and it will be more of the habit, behaviors, nutrition, but all prescribed as daily tasks in
Ex-
CoachRS.
Exactly. Now there's different options. So they could pick, let's say, just nutrition, just fitness, or just lifestyle, or they can do all three or two of. They can kind of pick. Then the pricing obviously changes depending. So in at some clients, let's say they want just fitness and lifestyle. Well, then it'd be myself and one of the lifestyle team that would be doing the coaching, and then we can converse back and forth, what's working, what's not working, and it's like a team idea as opposed to I'm I'm the coach and I'll, like I want it to be a team effort because we're all in it together and we're all trying to get better together. So that's kind of the way I kind of formulate it.
Amazing. That sounds awesome. And you obviously demand is quite high. And I guess what are you doing outside of just departmental proposals to create more awareness amongst the community? Because this is obviously a very targeted group of people that you want to work with.
Yeah.
Has marketing and growth been just organic, or are you putting some real strategic thought into that?
A little bit of both. I've been pretty fortunate. I've been very open with my struggles on, like after the incident, I struggled a lot psychologically. I had the classic, I didn't want to go outside. I started to recluse and I'm very, excited, want to go out and enjoy the outdoors. And I was downstairs on a sunny day, I'd be downstairs, right? So I definitely had my struggles, but I've been very open about my struggles in the hopes of helping other people be open about their struggles or showing them that it's okay not to be okay and it's okay to have those speed bumps in your recovery. Your recovery, your progress, even in fitness, it's never linear. It's never always just boom straight up. You're gonna have the ups and downs. There's gonna be sore muscles. There's gonna be shitty days, but making sure that you're putting all the building blocks in place so you have that long term success has been my goal. So I've been doing a lot of presenting at different conferences, which has been really, really good to kind of share my story, but also share that, yeah, I was down and out and wasn't doing great. And thank God I had a great support system around me that got me back. But, um, it's okay not to be okay and we'll get there together, right? And if it's not training with me, that's okay. But there's going to be somebody there that can help you. You just need to realize that you're going to get there. You're going to be better. It's the every like there's a lyric that I always loved that was, after every darkness there's the sun. Like no matter what, you're going to get back to the good stuff. You just gotta keep pushing through. So that's kind of
And I
how.
love that you are leveraging fitness as a medium to not necessarily avoid whatever it is that's creating struggle, but as a mechanism of addressing it actually maybe more directly. Because sometimes initially when you're dealing with something hard, you don't want to just open up to a stranger, but through fitness you could connect with your coach,
Exactly.
be really focused on achieving progress in another way, build trust, and
Mhm.
then those other things start to open up.
Exactly. And that was one of the struggles I had was essentially my autonomic nervous system was having like a maladaptive response. So if I had a really high intense burpee style workout, right, where everybody knows one burpee and your heart rate jacks, right? So I was doing a burpee style workout and I had a complete full blown panic attack. I had to grab onto the rig, took a knee, couldn't breathe. But nobody was in there trying to hurt me in the gym. My body was just having a maladaptive response to it. So I really, really dug into how can I retrain my body in conjunction with with the traditional techniques, psychologists and all that good stuff. But how can I fast track that progress? So that's whenever I got into the cold water therapy, shocking my body in the cold and then working through my breathing to bring my heart rate down naturally, um, through my own mindset, right? So that's really, really where the fitness side of things took off. That's what made me get into ultra running was because I couldn't walk, right? And whenever I was injured, I couldn't walk. So, or I had a walking boot and a cane. So I'm like, well, frig, I kind of miss running. And I'm like, I never thought I'd ever say that, right? So, so then I was like, man, I can't wait to run again. So then I started hiking and then I started jogging and I'm like, this feels nice. So then I started playing around with the heart rates and then trying to see how long I could keep my heart rate at level or zone 1 and 2. And then I was like, shit, I'm getting a little bit further. So I really started diving into that. And then, just the other day, we ran a 52-kilometer ultra over 8 hours, and it was just like a regular old Saturday. Like it was an event, but it was just a blast, right? So that's where I really dug into the fitness side of it is using fitness as a way to help first responders or anybody, general public, anyone, but a way to set us up for that long term success, not just talk therapy or just, you know, uh, pharmaceuticals and stuff. Like there's a way for our bodies to be put out of their comfort zone to make them better. So that's kind of really that's where it really, I love it.
Have you always been like growing up before policing, like when you were much younger, was your brain always very systems oriented? Because it, from an outside perspective, getting to know you and getting to know the way you've grown this business, obviously very organized, very systematic. And that is showing great success from a scaling perspective, but that's not a natural tendency for a lot of people. So tell me a little bit about that.
I always say it's one of the positive byproducts of the incident. I feel like it's a way to keep my mind. It honestly, it started as a way to help people, but also a way to occupy myself. I was ruminating, right? So I would find a negative thing or something would pop into my head, and then I go right down the rabbit hole of just thinking about that and stewing. And then I was like, I got to think of some positive stuff here. Like, I got to start really pivoting my thought process. And I absolutely love seeing people's progress and then showing them. Like, I tell them, you guys are the ones in the trenches. You guys are the ones that are doing the work. I'm the one that's just overlooking everything, seeing your guys' progress. So I love digging into the 6 week cycle and seeing their percentage increases to show them, because they're like, man, like I didn't realize I had 60 some percent gain in my bench, right? Or I didn't realize that, I had such a percent increase here because it sucked. And I'm like, yeah, it sucks because we're doing some hard reps, man. Like, I got you doing 4 second eccentrics. Of course, it's gonna suck, right? So really, I wouldn't say I've always been kind of a thoughtful person that way, like thinking of different things, but never applying it in a way like this. And I really think it was kind of a positive thing from the incident where it really lit a passion for wanting to help first responders and people that are struggling. Like, some clients, they're not even first responders. They might have a medical condition that they think they can't do fitness. And I'm like, you can start somewhere and we'll make progress, right? We might not be an Olympian or we might not be, but we're going to still make progress for you and you're still going to get better. So that's kind of yeah, I've been fortunate that it's a positive byproduct, I say.
Amazing. So you've been now this is about, is it like 6 years now that you've been developing the business, growing the business?
Oh, the business I started in well, the incident happened 2022. And then I guess it like officially started right around 2023. So it's really only
Okay.
been official for like a year and a half or so, 2 years.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible growth in that time.
Yeah, it's been really, really good. I've been lucky, traveling a lot with it. Like this summer, we're going down to Alabama to the World Police Fire Games. We have one of the clients that's now a coach, is competing there. And
What
then
are the police and fire games? I'm not
so,
aware.
oh, they're out of Alabama. So it's called the World Police Fire Games. So it's essentially if you're a retired or current first responder, you compete in all these different. I think there's like 60 some different sports. So it's JT. He's going to be competing in CrossFit. But it's just such a good, we always, and I say this all the time in first responder world, right? We see each other in uniform. We always relate each other to the job. And it's so nice to go to these events and see the coworkers outside of the uniform and just being themselves and not wrestling around with people. Like seeing them outside of the job and just showing like how much community we can actually have as opposed to focusing on the negative. So yeah, so it's a really, really good event. The organizers there have been phenomenal. I didn't get to go to the Winnipeg. It was in Winnipeg in Canada in 2023. Unfortunately, I never made it. I was hoping to go. I had a little bit of a tweak in the back, so I never got to make it. And then I got run over, so that kind of put a kibosh to that. So I never got to go either. But I'm excited to get to go. And then there's another event. It's called Home Gym Con. It's in Kentucky, the week just before it. So yes, we're gonna do a road trip.
Oh, you're going to events that are specifically first responder focused, and then also just
Yeah,
mainstream kind of fitness events.
yeah, exactly. Because that's the nicest thing with CoachRx is anybody can use it. I've been in talks with companies just being like, like you guys have a specific product. Like these are all the different movements you guys can do with that product. Why not showcase that to people right off the hop, as opposed to just saying, hey, this is our quality built product. Like, but here's all the things you can do with it, right? So it's the possibilities are legit endless. It's just a matter of kind of putting it out there and showing the what we can do, right? So
Yeah.
like, yeah.
With the home gym trend, do you find in Canada, is that still a priority? Are most people training at home and finding a program or a coach to work with, or is the gym scene more popular, or is it still kind of 50-50?
Still kind of 50-50, I would say. The nice thing I find with the shift worker side is I usually will put like alternate workouts in. So let's say it's supposed to be a heavy day on their second day off where they're starting to get recovered. Well, I might put in an alternate day. So if they get called in for overtime on one of the days of their days off, then they can do a home gym workout, right? If they have that home gym. So having that availability in there and the ease of just being able to whip up, like my computer is always on me. It's always in my backpack. So I can always just whip it up, fire in the workout and send it to them, and then they can get to that, right? So if they're on the road for a course, for example, there's a Atlantic Police Academy here in the Maritimes. So if one of the coworkers or somebody that's doing my programming is going there for 2 weeks, let's say, for a course, I'll be perfect. I know what gym gear they have, so here's your workout, and then I kind of keep going with the same cycle we were working, but specific to that gym. And it's no work. I love it. This isn't work. This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So, in the last 2 years that you've been really focused on building this, what have been some of the biggest like hurdles or challenges that have come up from just a business perspective that you've had to navigate?
I would say the proof of concept, maybe, like really, because I'm no Olympian. Like I'm a patrol cop. I'm a detective position now, but like, I had a shitty event that really changed my life, but it's I think the proof of concept, showing people that like yes, it's possible. Trust me, we'll get you there. That's the tricky part where I'm not a big organization that's got all the the funding background. Like I overhauled the spare bedroom into, now I call it RTF HQ, right? So like I got my training, I got my stationary bike in the background, and but it's having that proof of concept is and I'm starting to get there, which has been great. But yeah, that's the hardest part, is I want it to be something big, and I know we're on track for that. It's just keeping it going, right? So, but like the best
What
part
were
is
some of the ways that you navigated like getting your first set of clients, whether that was your first client or your first handful of clients?
I, it was honestly, it was very organic. It was me kind of posting, it was a little bit of social media whenever I started, just posting about like my struggles, but also that like, you're going to have your ups and downs. We'll get you there. It started off, right? I had a couple of clients. My local gym, they were great. The owner there's been a long time friend. And he was like, man, like, would you ever be interested in coaching people? And I'm like, yeah, like I used to coach hockey, like sure. So I really started like loving it and seeing their progress, seeing how happy they would get whenever they get that PR, and just seeing their overall progress. I just fell in love with it. And then seeing first responders, like I had a coworker that was struggling, super lean guy, got injured on duty and put on some weight, more than he wanted to put on, right? So then he was like, let's work together. I'm like, sure, let's do it. And then they lost a ton of weight. They're doing great. They're running. I'm like, and they're just seeing that, like that vitality that they had come back. It was really nice. So that's kind of where, but the biggest hurdles I think would be that tricky part, like kind of getting that like proof of concept, getting people to really trust that I'm going to get you there. You just trust me, we'll get you there.
Yeah. Do you find that that's been achieved by the success stories that you've been able to generate? Like you said, with this one friend that had gained some weight, wasn't really happy about it, but then came back, and then using his story as a way to create more awareness of the fact that you can help with this transformation.
Yeah, and I think too, breaking it into simpler terms, people overthink it. They think, man, like, I don't know what to do. I don't have this, I don't have that. Well, what do you have? And what do you have at if you have a kettlebell, I'll make you a program. If you have a set of stairs in your house, we can make it work, right? Like there's so many options with so many different things that people don't even realize, right? It was funny. I had a client now that's at Depot for the RCMP, and he didn't have like sandbags or like heavy kettlebells, but he had water jugs, like big heavy duty water jugs. I was like, well, farmer's carries, here we go, right? And that was it, right? So it's super interesting to see kind of what you can come up with, like what do you have available at your disposal. Um, and just showing them that you can start legit anywhere. Like everybody's got a starting point. Like whenever I started running, a 5K was a big hurdle, right? And then now I'm running, 60. I think my max has only been 68 kilometers, but my goal is to get to 100 this summer. So anybody, you just got to start with the volume, and there's a method to the madness. It'll work. You just gotta trust me.
Do you find that, or have you navigated like consistency challenges with some of the clients that you're working with because of the shift work? And I guess what are your strategies for helping them recognize when they need to take that downtime and rest versus when they need to stick to the plan and so forth?
Yeah, so I find with shift workers, your first day off, as no matter what, it's that first day off is your recovery day. Just get the body back to normal. Day two is and I use a lot of RPEs, so like your rate of perceived exertion. I try not to use percentages with first responders, especially because your 90% of your one rep max, that's all fine and dandy. But if you just got called into night shift the night before, or you just had a shitty call the day before and you're super stressed because it's hovering over your head the next day, well, your 90% of your one isn't capable today. But what's 90% of what you're able to do today? Because your body doesn't know the difference between running a 5K or running a 60K. It knows the amount of time under tension. It knows how much what your pace was like or how much you're exerting. So it's no sense me saying run at a 4:30 pace, 4:30 kilometer pace, or saying run at a 8 out of 10 pace, because maybe 4:30 is nowhere near achievable today, but 80% is, and 80% is still going to be the same as if you're at your prime doing 4:30. So that's kind of where I've got the most consistency out of clients, is kind of adjusting it so that we can make it work, right? And adjusting just because I have them set up for 4 days a week. If they're not consistent at 4 days a week, well, then let's bring it back by one day and bring it to 3 days a week and get them consistent. And then maybe add on that fourth. And I'll say that to them like, listen, bro, I know you want to do 4 days a week, but you're not. So what can we do to make that work? Or what if we did 3 days a week? Maybe we do an active day, like an active recovery day. Sometimes people get annoyed, not annoyed, but people get caught in that I guess almost like a training rut. So sometimes I'll put in there for clients like, this is your free day. Have at her. Do what you want as long as it doesn't affect the other days of training. You do you, right? So like our local CrossFit gym, I'm like, you can do class on this day. Have at her. It's okay, right? So that can kind of be a way to make it fun for them, and still getting them that progress that they want. So,
Yeah, I love that. I had a question and I just lost it. It'll come back to me.
okay, okay.
I'm like, where are you going with that? It was connected to, oh, I know what I was gonna say. Do you find that or what percentage of the client mix that you're working on in the first responder base is your focus, like health, vitality, stress reduction, recovery, versus more of a performance mindset of,
Mm.
my area of practice requires me to meet these standards and I want to meet or exceed them, and we're really pushing to perform the best that I need to in whatever performance standards there are for that division.
Yeah. So for them, I would do it it would be different. So if they're trying to so for instance, I have a firefighter prep program now that I'm running at the local gym. And that's that's intensive to like specific to getting a certain level on the beep test and achieving a certain aerobic capacity, right? So it's very intensive with that one. But then sometimes clients, it's just that long-term gains. So just getting them consistent, just getting them moving. But if it's something like, hey, I have the pair test, now it's a different test for the RCMP, but I have the entrance fitness test. And then I'm like, okay, which one is it? Okay, perfect. And then I'll figure out exactly what they need to get, and I build them up to make sure that they can get that day or have the best chance of getting that if it's enough time. It's been so quick turnarounds every now and then. I'm like, I wish you would have messaged me a little while before, but sure, we can try to make it work, right? So yeah, it depends. But I think that with making it custom specifically to what that client needs has gotten the most success, as opposed to really just kind of, hey, you just got to do it, right? Being like, hey, like we can do this together. Like what, like let's do this, right? We're a team. We'll make it work. But yeah, there's so percentage of clients for either, it kind of fluctuates. Sometimes depending, like right now, there's a huge hiring spree for the local regional fire department. So there's a ton of firefighting clients. And then sometimes if there's a big influx of, policing, like for here, the intake is January for the academy. So kind of coming around summertime when people start to realize they're getting further in the process, all of a sudden they're like, oh, I got to get ready for this. That's usually whenever that'll start to pick up. Yeah, it's been good. It's great.
Awesome. So when it comes to education, I know obviously this became a passion of yours through the incident, but had you had more traditional education when it came to program design or anatomy, biomechanics, all those kinds of things that are informing how you're able to design the programs for these clients?
Yeah, so I use LearnRx, which is through OPEX. I was able to get with Precision Nutrition, so I did like my nutrition certification through them. The sleep stress and recovery, I was one of the first cohorts to go through that. And it was because I struggled, obviously, with stress and then this sleep and recovery because I always felt like I was burning out. So I really, really was like, man, this would be a sweet program to take. And I loved it. So I took that and just really growing my knowledge base. I know I want to take the CCP course within the next year is kind of my goal. And then what I'm doing too is I'm taking a lot of traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture courses because eventually I'd like to go that route also and have that be my full-time employment at some point, just so I can help because acupuncture was a big factor in my stress management, and it really helped my body get back to that homeostasis that I always say was the best. So yeah, so I'm always looking at different courses, different things I can get. I've looked at the master course through Precision Nutrition also. So but we're getting there. It's how many hours in the
Are
day I
there
can.
any favorite go-to podcasts or books that are like on your regular visiting list, or how, I guess, from outside of LearnerX, when you're consuming content on the regular for just like on the fly, like inspiration or uh, overall knowledge growth, what are your go-to sources?
I always really liked Chasing Excellence. Ben Bergeron, that was a good one. He always just has very, he just breaks it down, right? And he's like a legend in the CrossFit world. On the, I'm trying to think of some other really good ones. Like right now, I'm right into the trail running. Like I'm in the deep dive of the trail running and pacing and all that good stuff. But like Blue Grit's really good too. Blue Grit Radio. The nice thing with him is he's a recruiter with a police department, but he's also very, very good with, how do we set people up for long-term success in the policing world. So that's been really, really good. But like books, I would say I would do a lot of reading whenever kind of I want to decompress before I go to bed. I'm just I read and I'm out like a light. So yeah, like unwinding anxiety was really, really good. It showed me kind of this is what my brain's doing and this is how I can kind of pivot it to make it go into a positive direction. And not get frustrated with myself and be like, It's all right. We're having a shitty day. We'll be fine, right? So yeah, unwinding anxiety, Gritton's. I think it's just called Resilience, and that was a really good book. My family doctor actually gave me that whenever I was off. He's like, "Better read this," and it was an amazing book. Wim Hof was really good for like the breathing techniques. And that's really what spurred my interest to get into the cold water. I'm lucky we live on a lake, like I can see the lake out the window here, and I go out and I chop a hole in the ice and I, do cold dips, and I have a cold tub on the patio that's usually at like -3 that I'll hop into, and just really good ways to keep progressing my body so that I don't have any real setbacks. Or if I do, that I'm setting myself up that they're a short-term setback.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
What do you feel like are some of the best lessons that you have gained from the clients that you're coaching?
Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like it everybody has their own story, and everybody the work it's really really interesting seeing what works for different clients too, because you can use that with other clients. You can see what worked for them, right? Maybe it's a scale that worked for this client that might work for another one. Or I just feel like the everybody's so interesting whenever you're really, I do in-person PT and stuff too at the local gym. So just hearing people's stories and their life, like, it's just so cool, right? Like, I know one client, wicked, wicked, wicked guy. And, he's telling me about being a rocker down in LA back in the day. And I'm like, what? Like, you just like, and he's telling me stories about all these old school artists. And I'm like, this is like, it was just so cool, right? Like, getting to meet all the different people and just what their life story is. And everybody, I always say too, you don't have to be a first responder. Like, everybody has their struggles that they go through in the run of a day, whether it's financial or at home, but you know, using fitness as a way to make that be your positive of the day, or to kind of stack those building blocks in your favor. That's kind of what I love the most about it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Amazing. Um, as you look forward, what are you most excited about for what's coming?
Oh man, I honestly, I know, like, I always, I keep telling the coaches, it's like there's a little, like, fires are burning everywhere and they're starting to catch, and like, it's right there. Like, it's just gonna take off. So, that's exciting, right? Like, and seeing the RTF name at like these big events and stuff, or just being able to reach out to different organizations and offer that support, like, um, or partnering up to help different people. Like, I started up, it's called Partners in Resilience. So, for instance, like, even if they're not like a paid coach with RTF, let's say it's like we have innate renewal out of Ontario. So they're out of Ontario. They can only counsel out of Ontario, but I have a ton of clients from Ontario. So we have a system now that if I have a client from Ontario that wants to seek counseling, they can reach out to Innate, and Innate's like, oh, you're an RTF client. 100% will take you on. So having more supports for those first responders that's outside the gym too. And just partner agencies like First Response Coffee Company, they're a big supporter of Wounded Warriors. And just really, the networking has been so, it's just not like empowering, but just very, very, like, yeah, like I always say, I'm
It's
not.
momentum. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very exciting, right? And it keeps me motivated to keep myself on track, because, all these people are entrusting the RTF team to get them to their goals. So I got to make sure I'm still good, right? And I got to make sure I'm squared away, because I got to be there for them. And the unfortunate incident with my old troop mate and stuff, it really, really opened up my eyes to, everybody's you don't know what anybody's thinking. And really being there for people is the biggest thing. Just offering that line of like, hey man, if you need anything, I'm here. That's been the most rewarding, to be able to help people. Cause like I always say, I'm not the same Devon I was before the incident, but it's like a Devon 2.0. It's a better version, right? I know so much more of what I'm capable of now than what I did before the incident. it's funny, like even whenever I was doing the run the other day, it was I think hour 7-ish, and I had just enough time to get one more lap in. And the race director, he's a retired military guy, and he's like, "Devin, you gonna go for another run?" And the old me would have been like, "No," and like another lap. And I would, and I was like, "Yeah, like let's do it." And I just poof, turned and back out the door I went, right? And I made one more lap. So just having that, like, yeah, it's gonna be like, let's do it, right? And just enjoying life has been kind of the biggest spin-off of the incident. So
Oh, I love that. Do you have any like non-negotiables in your day for making sure that Devin is okay?
yeah, I think taking that time, like I always make sure I do like, my deep breathing and things like that, taking time to decompress, making sure I don't burn the candle too far at both ends. That was a big thing. And my partner, she's known me for, we've been together 8 years. So she knew the old Devon before the incident, and she saw what I went through whenever I was off and my struggles. So she keeps me in line. She keeps me in check, and it's been really fun using fitness as a way to kind of like we're always doing something together, rock climbing or bouldering or running or biking, and always doing something. So yeah, I think that like the non-negotiables are just making sure that I keep myself from burning out, but also like keep myself good, right? Make sure I do my own maintenance on myself to make sure that I'm on the right track. And like even in the evenings now, like, a couple hours before bed, probably about 2 hours, hour and a half, I'll make sure, I lock my phone, I not lock my phone, but I shut the door to the office and I'm like, we're closed, we're going to bed, right? And I kind of decompress for the night because otherwise I'll be thinking about it or I'll be thinking of the next idea or I'll be messaging a company or, so I'm like, okay, I have to decompress my mind now. And then the next morning at 4:30, the alarm goes off and I'm like, here we go. Back at it.
Oh, I
So
love that so much.
yeah,
Before we have to close out, this has just been phenomenal. I love what you're doing, and it's so exciting to see, to be able to witness you have this success and the excitement in the day to day. What you're doing is amazing. So just thank you
thank
for being such a good ambassador of CoachRx and OPEX, and what it means to be a professional coach out in the
you.
world doing this job very, very well. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, thank
I don't think we got to cover any advice or strategies that you would want to share with like new coaches coming up as they're getting started? Is there anything top of mind for you that would be helpful for new coaches?
Yeah, I think that it's having your niche or having what's your passion. Don't try and follow what everyone's doing. I feel like whenever I first started, right, like, I don't have a big degree in this and that, but I've lived 10 years or 12 years of policing. I've done fitness, I do fitness, like so trusting in your own abilities, do what carve your own path. Don't follow the cookie cutter way of doing it. That was the biggest thing I found was whenever you're starting off, you're like, okay, well, what are people doing that's successful, and what do you it's like, no, what do you want to do? Because you can do whatever the beep you want in life. And if that's your passion, roll with it because you only get one crack at life. So let's do it, right? Because otherwise you're just gonna fall into that monotony of just hustling, just trying to do what everyone else is doing or following the trends. Like, do what makes you happy and what puts a smile on your face. You're golden. People will really gravitate that because you genuinely want them to get better. And you're going to do whatever it takes to get them there. And if you have a different quirky way of doing it, so be it.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Devin. Where can people contact you?
Yeah, so I have my own website, resiliencethroughfitness.com. They can reach out email, it's Devon at resiliencethroughfitness.com, or on Instagram, Facebook, Resilience Through Fitness. So yeah,
Um,
thanks very much.